boom, boom. I do. Okay, first things up. My Lakers.
Your Lakers.
Your Lakers.
Even though we lost last night, we will not discuss that. But the acquisition of Luka, which is honestly, I thought it was fake. I still can't believe it.
I thought it was fake news. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I don't know how that AD trade is going though. That looks
like a bust.
Like a little bit of a bust there. For a bad gamble.
I'll tell you how it's looking.
So one of my friends, he's a diehard Mavericks fan. Shout out to Sheldon and everything. So
poor guy.
He's a diehard Mavericks fan, right? And so he hits me up like, the first quarter, the first half, AD was like, he was going off. He was playing well. Then he got hurt. And so he asked me, he said, "Hey man, how do you guys deal with this? How do you guys deal with this when you got this type of talent and just like you just know at any point he can get hurt?" And I said the same way we dealt with it like with Andrew Bynum. We went through the same thing with Andrew Bynum and everything. And so I told him, you got to have an under over expectation. Expect he's going to miss 30 games. Under. Expect he's going to miss 30 games or anything. Adjust your expectations for that. When he plays, though, hold him to a higher standard over.
Yeah.
And so hopefully somewhere in between that, the stars align, and you get the best out of them. Luckily, we got 2 rings out of Andrew Bynum?
Yeah. I think that speaks to a little bit of Michael Jordan. He was just talking, or I just saw an interview on TikTok where he said he couldn't coach in today's league because it's an impossibility for him to really get across, I guess, the level of dedication that he has compared to what the players have now. And he said it's just impossible, basically, to do that.
Yeah. I can see that for particularly for individuals like him because he hold himself to such a high standard and he expects others to at least strive for that standard. And I mean you saw with the Bulls, people like it was hard to play with him, because he was holding everybody accountable and stuff. And so
he was like one of the first players to work out. That documentary was crazy.
Yeah. He was always the first person workout person and not go out while everyone is partying stuff like that. Like Kobe had a very similar drive to him, right? That was Kobe, what they say.
I'll tell you how far it goes with Kobe. In the off season, Kobe would work out at 5 a.m. to do a 2-hour workout just so he can be back at home to have breakfast with his daughters. And then he'll go back into another workout.
Priorities, man.
Wow.
Priorities.
Wow. And I just a lot of dedication there. I got jokes. I got jokes, but that's a lot of dedication there.
Well, also too, I mean, Sekou, you being from Philly.
You mean the city of champions? You mean? Yes. Yes, I am from the city of champions. If you haven't heard.
Are you did you do any type of in the celebration? I know you're on the West Coast and stuff there, but did you do any type of celebration? Any party? Any shots?
Well, he was the one carrying the light pole, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, I decided to not go out and not climb any traffic signals and like my fellow Philadelphia brethren. But no, we were having a good old time. I just got a new puppy over here, so he's all geared up with his Eagles gear, cheering them on and stuff. So yeah, it was good. We had a good time. It was a nice little party over here.
That really sounds like it's like 50-50. It's like 50% disappointment, 50% adult. It's like, man, I really want to be in those streets.
Oh yeah. No. The thing is, the celebration was on Valentine's Day, right? So it was on Valentine's Day. So like, you go into the Eagles celebration and it's on Valentine's Day. That feels like that's a little bit of a conflict, to sell that. Unless you're both diehard,
Yeah, I was about to say that. Unless you're both diehards. And so if one is diehard and the other one's not, then yeah, it could be some conflict and stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hey man, y'all ready? Let's go. Let's get this thing going.
Let's get it going.
Let's do it.
Yeah, first of all, I'm never going to get over that. Anyway, guys, welcome back for AI with Friends. Man, this is AI with Friends, man. We got Marlon Avery here. We got, actually, let the fellas introduce themselves, man.
Adrian Green here, back for season 2. Happy to be here. Head of technology at Distro Nation. Here we are. You know what I mean? Long-time developer. I don't know. You guys should know me by now. I'm gonna let Sekou take it from there.
Hey everyone, it's Sekou, cloud engineer extraordinaire. Back for season 2. Excited for all the things that happen in the industry. Looking forward to having great conversations and bringing everyone into it here.
All right, Marlon Avery, head of basketball operations for the Lakers. So Marlon Avery. Everything, guys. CEO of a company called VoicePath. We build AI voice solutions for SMBs, and then also run an education platform called AI Impact, teaching individuals, organizations, governments, and everything how to implement artificial intelligence. And so, guys, real quick, man, definitely, feel free to follow us and everything on all platforms at AI with Friends. But also, too, don't forget here to join our Discord. And then, so we'll put that here in the notes, in the show notes and stuff here. Feel free to join the Discord. We'll be hosting. We're going to start hosting soon some weekly office sessions. We're going to start also to put together some workshops, put together some lessons. Teaching you guys and everything, showing you guys, how to really take advantage of this opportunity that allows ahead of us as we dive forward into this AI-centric universe. And so it's going to be exciting. And also, too, dialing in from a new location. Your boy has moved to Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. So I went from I went from sunny Florida to cloudy, snowy, DC and everything. But I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it. Gonna dive into the community and stuff here. I tell you what I'm also excited about. Humane AI pen, a wearable AI assistant, has officially, let's call it closing the doors, but also too, it was an acquisition of assets. HP has acquired the startup assets for $116 million, signaling the end of one of the most hyped AI hardware products in recent years. The AI pen faced significant challenges, including overheating issues, limited functionality, and also too a hefty price tag starting at $699. Guys, what's your guys' thought? I mean, we've been talking about Humane. We've been talking about some of the things that we noticed, some missteps that they had. Is this a surprise? Is this an excitement? Is this a told you so moment? Sekou, let's start with you.
Oh man, we saw the writing on the wall. This one, I think the thing that we didn't see is who would acquire it, right? That was the one that kind of surprised me.
No, we did
not. HP. I'm trying to remember. It was a couple years ago. HP split in two. It used to be just one HP that did servers and did consumer things like ink printers and stuff like that. But they ended up splitting to two companies. One that handles all the printers and the one that handles all the enterprise stuff. And all the one of the groups to purchase it, it was the one that actually owns the ink printers and scanners and things like that. The consumer side is what actually purchased it. There's a group called HPIQ, which, you know, well, actually, that's what Humane has become. HPIQ is what they're going to be focusing on. It feels, I don't know. To me, it feels like it's like an acquisition hire. You know,
it's exactly what it
they're
feels
probably
like.
not going to make that product, but you know, it's maybe some of the talent that went into putting that together is going to, you know, be part of making something completely different, maybe even unrelated. But yeah, it's an interesting demise to something that, you know, we expected to not go super far.
I'm gonna tell you what right now. If they dare try to make something like an AI printer, I'm hacking their website. No. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. I don't want to see that. So, hey, Adrian, what's your thoughts on all this?
I gotta say, I got some bad news for you because it seems like that's exactly what they're trying to do.
That's 100% happening.
You know, thinking about, you know, we talked about Humane last season, and you know, I get really hung up on the optics of it all, and I think that really what we were looking at just right before our eyes was just, you know, someone who still was following the kind of Steve Jobs motif, the, you know, kind of super futuristic product, slick, you know, promo around it, kind of targeting the, you know, the upper crust of the, you know, the consumer level. And you know, not everyone can do it. Not everyone has the same backing, has the same minerals. It's just like everyone can't be Michael Jordan. You know, it takes a lot of everyone can't be Bill Gates. You know, it takes a lot of, you know, environment, circumstance around that in order to make that happen. So when you come out like you know, really kind of jacking someone's style, as obvious as they were, I think it, like, a little bit of it is that this is a little bit of just desserts here, where it was kind of overblown. The product was not working off the rip, and we saw product after product last year where this happened. And now the consumers that did buy it, a lot of returns. They had over $1 million of returns the last time we spoke, I think. But they have until February 27th to return the product for a refund. So, and after that, it's just going to be bricked. So I think that's fair, you know, to the consumer, to just give them an opportunity to give it, you know, give their bad investment back and to recoup that. But I mean, come on, like, what were they thinking launching this and not really? It looked cool. That's the one thing I can say. It looked cool, but for it to work, possibly even worse than the rabbit. We talk about the rabbit every podcast.
They're still going strong though. Rabbit is still going strong.
They're still going.
Yeah, they just released their AI agents too on Rabbit, so they're doing things.
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them, and actually, after looking into HP a little bit more, you know, I'm rooting for them too, because I didn't know about their current CEO, Enrique Lores. He started as an intern and worked his way up to become CEO. And like, how many stories do we hear about that nowadays? You know, where you can start at the mailroom and work your way up, kid. This kid has gumption.
Oh yeah.
You know, this kid's got. He's gonna. You know. He's. You know. And that can actually work their way up. A lot of that. You know, when I was looking at that, you know, and I was thinking, you know, a lot of that kind of vertical mobility within companies is hard to come by nowadays. You know, typically they'll hire from the outside. You know, middle management, a lot of different things. So, you know, there's a lot of different, you know, ceilings that you can hit for a lot of reasons within a company. So seeing that made me, and he's an engineer too. So that made me, I'm rooting for him. Let's have an AI printer. whatever you guys got to do.
Yeah.
Let's try it out.
Oh, I'm already upset that I have to connect my printer to the internet. Like I'm forced to do that, and it also keeps asking me, do I want to like subscribe to Ink? Like what's happening? Why? Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah,
I still have an old dot matrix over here, man. I don't even, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. I have little to no faith, on this acquisition, even with the acquisition of assets. I mean, in my eyes, this is like HTC acquiring the Google Glass. This is like Dell acquiring the Apple Vision Pros. Like, I just have no faith, that this is going to. I have no faith it's going to turn into anything, particularly for the consumer, that the consumer actually wants, and they can make impact, they can make change. I just see this as, I'm telling you, man, nobody wants to see an AI printer, right? I don't care what it does or anything. I don't care what they say or anything and stuff it's going to do. I just, nobody wants to see that.
You don't want generative AI coming out of your printer. Generative images coming out of your printer.
It can't be. That can't be the way that they're going to use AI on the printer. It can't. Right? I'm gonna send you. No, I'm gonna just print what I want to. I'm gonna just print what I feel like. You know what I mean? I thought this needed to be zhuzhed up a bit.
You see how there's no response to that?
But speaking of that, what would you think, Marlon, if the company that acquired them was Kodak?
But
talking about an older company, because it's like, we're talking about Compaq buying the Apple, or HP buying Apple Vision Pro or whatnot.
So
what if it was a company like Kodak that did cameras?
I still have no faith, because it's not the acquisition that is going to make things change. It's the talent inside the team that will take it to the next level. And so it's you're not going to convince me that HP has that talent. You're not going to convince me that Kodak has that talent and everything. The talent has been shown in consistency in the past decade of innovation that has happened from said companies. I watch it. I would have believed. I would have had more faith if somebody like Disney acquired Humane.
Yeah,
Disney.
I'd have had more faith then.
I want to hear more about this one. Let's imagine what would the Disney product be for?
So number one, I've been rooting for it. I've been saying this for, actually, I'm gonna find a clip. I said it like 5-6 years ago when they was talking about TikTok sale. I said Disney. I thought Disney should be able to acquire TikTok. I put them above Apple. I put them above Facebook and everything. The reason I say that too, because there is no company on planet Earth that has better insight and knowledge and everything of how to entertain the family than Disney. Nobody has done that longer.
Absolutely.
I believe nobody has better insight and everything. And so then when you're talking about the understanding of how to do that for the family, but you can break that down to the individual from the mom, from the kids and things like that. Now you're talking about a capability where you can have like the Humane AI pen be produced in levels. So for example, just like Apple has the top iPhone and then they do the cheap one. They typically the cheap one, is for the kids and things like that, what I mean? But they understand, how to release these things in models and everything. I can see Disney doing something very similar, everything. If you're going to recreate the Humane pen and things like that, it'll be focused on something around entertainment, learning, things like that, but also getting a better understanding of you based off the product that is focuses on a particular group of individuals. So you're going to have Humane Pen 1 that is for 6-year-olds to 15-year-olds. Humane Pen 2, is for your college students. Humane Pen 3 is for your adults and everything. And that data and that insight, and then when you encompass that, something with open source models, I would believe Disney can figure it out before I even start to believe HP can.
This is my favorite part of the show. This is my favorite part of the show when Marlon, the product officer, comes out.
We love to see it. We love to see it because every time I think that now my
Disney,
brain
if you
is
take this
going,
idea too, I will fight. No, I'm playing. Go ahead.
Hey, look. I don't want no smoke. I don't know if you guys know. Look. I met them. Look, we just met for the first time, guys. We just met in person for the first time. I am the smallest one. Trust me. I don't want to smoke with either one. These two guys, they got out the car.
Oh,
I was like, damn, man.
That's funny. Cool. Wait, Sekou, how tall are you? You 6'2", 6'3"?
6'2". I'm 6'2".
Okay, yeah, I'm 6'2" as well. Yeah.
That is wrong. 5'10". 5'10".
5'10". It's all right.
Anyway.
You're bodyguards. That's all that means.
Yeah, man.
Bodyguards. No one's messing. You're gonna look. You look very important.
We'll get the little fake earpiece thing, that's underneath the jacket, with some suits and stuff on. And
I'm getting in the gym. Man. I'm getting back in the gym. I can't do this. But listen, the two things. Marlon again. So when we talk about the possibility of Disney acquiring a company like Humane, I just think of, has there been much discussion about these kind of learning systems developing alongside of a child's development? Disney would know how to do that. Like they would probably have a lot of insight about that. So if you're, something that's teaching you maybe skills, teaching a child reasoning at the same time that it's learning, that just, oh my God, something that's
I'll take it a step further real quick. I'll take a step further real quick. Gary Vee is doing that V Friends platform, where he's developing characters and everything that talks about the characters are pushing things like patience, being empathetic, things like that.
Yeah,
Disney would implement the same thing. You would give the parents access. Okay, geez, bro, my dog. You would give the parents access to the Humane Pen. They would set it on their thing, and then you will create elements around their Humane Pen to teach the kids how to be more patient, to teach you how to be, more courteous and everything, to teach the kid how to be more empathetic. And basically with generative AI and everything, we know this because it would take on a persona. Their agent or their model and stuff like that, particularly for that individual child, it would take on a persona. It would take on a persona, and it will start to adapt the way it communicates and adapt everything, the way it talks back and forth and everything. And it will start to teach them it'll start to teach them things, just around being courteous and the way it responds, because social media does the same thing, where it's like you start to learn different things subconsciously or consciously, if you know it or not. You start to pay attention to certain things and things. So if you have the Humane Pen, and this is something that goes along with you, because also too, Disney would quickly figure out a way how to get this also to go into the schools system there and with the kids as well. And if you can have that, and the Humane Pen can sit there and understand, even understand moment when they're struggling in school, when they're struggling with certain things, or when something happened and it notifies, the parent, the guardian of something like, hey, we noticed that, you might want to talk to your daughter about X, Y, and Z. And then here's the transcript of why I said that. They'll be able to figure this shit out.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's still talking to that boy. She's still talking to that boy. Talking Yeah, no, I feel you on that. It's a lot of opportunity there.
So, quick question before we move forward and stuff here. In the world of hardware, in the world of AI, do we still see the wearable around AI still having a future?
I don't want to give up.
Well, you know what? It's the form factor for me. I think Meta is they're ahead of the curve.
They are.
They're ahead of the curve of it. The glasses, having something that's not like, another thing on your body, something that you're already doing, wearing glasses. I think even truthfully, no one has jumped on this and I feel like I need to save this for exclusive
the Patreon,
Patreon or something. But like
the show is copyrighted.
Yeah, but yeah, there you go. Show's copyrighted. Can't take my ideas. But an earring is like the other one, like the thing that no one has like spent any time on. An earring, like looking at fashion that is accessible and integration there, even to jackets, like all these different things that we already have already is right for AI, especially with the fact that all you really need is connection to the internet, some LTE connection. That's it. You get access to being able to use these giant computers in the cloud to answer your questions and stuff. So
yep.
I think trying to make new devices is really just folks just wanting to be Apple, right?
Yep.
And
not watching Fringe. Just watch Fringe, because I'm like, do we got to call Walter Bishop or Peter Bishop, one of the bishops? Because I don't know if anyone out there has seen the show Fringe. That was one of the best sci-fi series I've ever seen. I got my dad watching it, and everyone has to watch. You got to watch Fringe. But they had Fringe. Fringe. It's a show that was on, I don't know if it was on like FX or something, probably the Sci-Fi Channel or something. But anyway, earring in the show, futuristic. That's the way to go.
Yeah, I also think that was one of the first mistakes. I knew it was going downhill when their immediate position was to replace the phone.
Yeah,
and I knew that wasn't the way. There wasn't the way. We're not there yet as a society. It's too many people who are. No, first of all, it's too many people who are attached to their phone, and also too, I believe that the people who are attached to their phone, they're not looking for another solution. They're not looking for the replacement. This is not Uber taking over taxis. Like, nobody really has a widespread problem with the phone or anything. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to force or convince somebody that the phone is a problem and this is to be the solution and everything, when nobody has a problem universally with the phone. Everything like
I hate my phone.
Everything. But like, at a point, I mean, but it's also your main thing. Like, it is. You hate your phone until you get to FaceTime with your family across the country.
That's true.
Everything. And so it's moments like that where universally there's no issue. And Humane was already trying to position themselves like, hey, this is going to replace the phone. The first question is why?
Why?
And then and then when even if it's not, and I think that was my mistake, but like it should have been an accessory to the phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, accessory to the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Yeah, it should be one of these. It should have been like that. It should have been an accessory to the phone, like, and everything. And so, go ahead.
But so the challenge is to these closed ecosystems, right? The Apple ecosystem, you're like adding accessories to that. You're not going to get the same fidelity that you would if you're Apple adding the product, and Apple is not in there to help you make good accessories for the devices, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we'll have to see what HP is going to end up doing with this and where this is going to end up going.
Nothing.
But you know what? There's still Rabbit. We can have our hopes and dreams for what someone's going to do with Rabbit.
And the next episode,
the downfall Rabbit.
HP though, HP that's the wild card. I think their office looks like Severance. When I think of the HP office, that's just. But that's a different story. We can move on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have no faith, and I honestly I look forward to coming on this podcast and saying, hey guys, I was wrong. They've done some sensational work, some sensational things. After the acquisition of Humane, but there probably would be season 437 of AI with Friends. So
yeah, from the moon, live from the moon.
Okay, all right, cool. Here we go. Grok 3. Elon Musk's AI Grok 3 has been released and is making waves with its performance. According to early users, they're saying that it's performing on par with GPT-4 and Claude, making a serious contender in the AI chatbot space. It said it reportedly excels its reasoning and creativity, but how does it compare to its competitors in real-world applications? Adrian, man, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts over here with the Grok 3?
All right, so in my job at Distro Nation, we do music distribution on streaming platforms for independent artists, and we're always on the hunt for new and up and coming artists that want to get their music out there. That takes a lot of research and A&R on our side. So I have been pleased with the progression of Grok. Actually, I didn't expect it to be as good as it's become. And their access to the Twitter data at the same time, I think, really adds a different element here. This isn't some external scraping operation. It's everything is, if the data source is in-house, I think it adds a lot more probably reliability if I'm trying to get real-time sentiment about things that are going down, or opinions on certain artists and musicians and things like that. So seeing them this new upgrade with the reasoning, Sekou walked us through yesterday. I was impressed. It looks like it's right up there on par with what we're seeing in the GPT 4.0 with the I'm sorry, it wasn't the operator, but the GPT 4.0 kind of canvas. Where
was it the deep research?
Deep research. Deep research.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's rad.
Yeah.
Sekou.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been playing around with Grok here and here, right? It's funny. I just canceled my X subscription, and I had like 3 more days left when this came out. And I was like, okay, let me just see what this is doing. It's like, oh dang, I want to get off X, but
you canceled your subscription of Grok or
for X Premium or X whatever their premium version of that is. Which I don't know. For all these different AI tools, like I feel like I have more subscriptions for AI things than I do for streaming services now. Like,
hey, there we go.
It's crazy right now. But I digress. Back to like Grok using it. It's really interesting, right? One of the things that they boast about on Grok, or at least XI, is to have the most truthful AI possible, right? But when you look at it's funny, we're going through and testing it out. We're asking it like, hey, we'll see if we ask it questions about investments, what does it say? And of course, it starts promoting Tesla. And I'm like, why are you mentioning Tesla here? I feel like even if you're all right, I automatically feel like there's a conflict inside of here baked into it, which is, we got to remember the author of that to see, with everyone, you're training AI to replicate the person who is doing the training, the engineers who are putting together, curating, what it's going to learn about. So it's going to take on that personality, and Grok definitely has that. So it is very close to, I think, GPT 1.0. I think the main difference that I'm seeing is
01.
01. The main difference that I'm seeing, especially if you look at how it does its reasoning, there's a point in time when you use 01, you ask it a question, it will ask you clarifying questions, especially if you use deep research. It will ask you a clarifying question before it moves on and starts doing its task. And I find that I know that it's really not like, rocket science to asking that clarifying question itself, but that one additional step that it does is giving higher fidelity than Grok is. And I think that's a huge difference right now. You ask it a question, it is gonna just infer and guess and try to figure out exactly what you want. And it's not doing too bad, but its precision is lower, I think, because of that. But yeah, I think the other part is like Grok is it's an uncensored. It's uncensored, but it's censored. It's an uncensored model. So, and it's the only LLM that has access to Twitter, as you say. So it has all, it has all of the it has all of the,
we got
all
a
the
fan.
great things.
That's a show mascot.
I know. You can see how he feels about Grok.
Yeah. He's on Twitter too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he should be. Doesn't? Oh yeah. He needs to be on. But for what you call it, for Grok, because it has access to the Twitter's Twitter's data, it has all the great things that are part of not Twitter, X, whatever you call it, X's data. It has all the great things that come with X and that conversation being part of the public square, and all the bad things all mixed into one. So it's like, because of that, because there isn't like, tuning around what is inside of there, it's like, I don't know. It's so hard to take serious because I don't take X serious, right?
It's
Does
hard.
anyone take anyone on X serious?
The minute that they start to insert their own stock into promoting Tesla stock, it a lot of stuff is skewed in there probably. To me, it kind of opens up that possibility that a lot of it's not just stocks that are kind of being promoted. The owner of it does matter.
Yeah, we're looking at what was it? Was it DeepSeek? And how if you use the DeepSeek service and stuff, or the LLM directly, you ask it about, say, Tiananmen Square, it will give you like the response from the Chinese government on what it thinks happened during that time, right? Which is clearly baked into the LLM itself. And like, as soon as you do that, you're like, I don't trust most things that are going to come out of this. I feel like there's some editorial work that's happening here. So,
and that takes me back to the Disney LLM thing too. So Disney is raising the kid. We may, think Pocahontas may teach the wrong history about Pocahontas to the kids too at the same time.
That what you're talking about, guys, is probably my major concern around generative AI. The embedding of propaganda that you can put inside LLMs that can also be hidden, as well. And while you're thinking it's just kind of giving a regular response, the best response or anything, it has some agenda on the back end so to it as well. I mean, that goes for, open source things, even like Llama, definitely goes for DeepSeek. And obviously we're seeing this already too with Grok. And unfortunately, this is not even a country thing and stuff anymore. This is a world thing. Everybody has an agenda. They say we want to be open source and we want to provide these tools and everything to the world so the world can benefit. And then you introduce a new model that is, priced up, but also too has an underlying agenda, and stuff like that. That's probably one of my major concerns with a lot of these models, particularly on the closed side of things, but even also on the open source side of some things too as well. And so it's definitely a concern. How do you solve that? I have no clue, but I definitely see it as a concern and stuff for sure.
I guess we've been seeing it. What's that? What's that? How?
I can solve it. You ready?
Yeah.
The answer
thing is the answer is not Sekou LLM.
Well, there may be one eventually.
Nice to
I'm just saying. But here's the thing. Like, this is like a fact that I recently kind of come to. When you're using LLMs, like if I use any of these different LLMs, whether they're censored or not, there's some truths that are like finite inside there, right? Like, what is Linux, right? We know what Linux is, or what is an OS. Like, I think we're inside of these different realms of truths, like they're useful. But when you move to opinions, you start doing the human sentiment. Like, how do you feel? What are people thinking? Things like that. Like, I think we need to separate these two. We should not be calling them the same thing, so that folks who actually have useful use cases for this stuff have a place, and then folks who want to get into weird science, they can do their thing, right? But at the end of the day, I think if you're putting out a large language model, they need like equivalent to a schema that they can publish, or it's kind of DeepSeek kind of created a white paper, but like give us references to your inputs, right? And allow folks to truly understand what it is. But right now, it's just a ball of mud, and you're expecting folks to like understand how to deal with that. And I don't think that's the challenge right now.
I think the other issue is that you mentioned opinion, where the definition of opinion it had a different definition than it did 10 years ago. The definition of opinion now is, if I stated it now, even if it's my opinion, I can force it to be a fact. Yeah. So with Grok, if I ask, okay, what are the top 10 investment opportunities where I can put my money in, I can almost guarantee you one of those things comes up as Tesla, Starlink, something like that, But also too, that is an opinion, but the LLM has put it out as a reasonable fact. And that is also too, is still very much opinionated, depending on, who is the individual, who's the user, what's the, but most importantly, Grok and others behind it has made it to be a fact, because that is the, again, propaganda or the agenda, so that they want to push. And unfortunately, I think I think we've crossed we're in murky water. I think this started probably like 3-4 years ago during the election period, when Facebook was getting too involved and stuff with things. I think it started there, where opinion was basically based on what we wanted to be. Fact checking was based on what we wanted to be. It could be, we've seen also times where individuals, institutions, organizations are rewriting history, to make something seem like it didn't happen, or make somebody look better, or what the case and stuff may be. And so I can guarantee you, you tap onto one of Microsoft's model and you ask them, give me 3 examples where Bill Gates was wrong about history. I can almost promise you, the book of What's Next will not come up. And so, he wrote that book at one point and said, "What's next?" And in that book, the word internet was not in it. And then he realized that, oh, I made a mistake, and hired a team to go acquire the books back, so he can kind of rewrite history. Awesome. But the fact was, that book was out, and he wrote the book, and he was wrong about history. But now you have the opportunity to rewrite history, everything. Now you can put that as an opinionated stated that, oh, he kind of said that, but he didn't mean it. That, like, it's, we're in murky water, and stuff now. And most importantly, also a lot of companies and individuals is, not standing on principles. They're standing on dollars, stocks.
Yeah, principles out the window. Yeah. My thing is, okay, so what do you think about a system like Wikipedia? So on Wikipedia, anyone can get up there and edit an article, but it relies on the community to kind of regulate that, as far as I know, right? So what if they're inside of something like a Grok? If there was a feature to where if they did, include something that was inaccurate or possibly skewed, maybe flag that and send it as feedback in a transparent way so that people can maybe have viewability of the feedback that was given. And then it will basically inform an overall opinion score about the accuracy of
You're onto something here.
Yeah. So hold on, let me dive a second. I spoke I think last year I was a keynote speaker at a conference, I think it was this 3's conference at Morehouse University. And I told Morehouse, along with a few of the HBCUs, that I'm telling you right now, if you guys are not building your own LLM for your books and for your history, you're making a big problem within history. The only way what you're saying, in my opinion, Adrian, is going to work. It's not necessarily the Wikipedia aspect is still it's a great step, but it's also still managed by human beings. Human beings can be manipulated. Human beings can be paid. Human beings can be fired if they don't go along with the agenda and everything. I think the only way this type of things work, when you want to put in a segment of data and watch how it changed, or if it changed or doesn't get the opportunity to change, is on the blockchain. And so I think if you can if you can combine, the data set and the information, and stuff, everything inside a blockchain, everything, and open source that, everything, and still to a Wikipedia, aspect, and a group of individuals will still have to agree to change it and everything if they decide to, but also too, you still have access to see the original file or the original text or the original, statement, and stuff from there. And you can see when it changed, how it changed, why it changed, everything. And then from there, you also to have the capabilities to come up with your own opinion or your own facts and stuff from that. You get to follow along with the history of change, not seeing the history change and being told that, hey, this is what it was from the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I think the only way that works is basically if you put it on the blockchain, open source that, make it public, do that, and then from there, connect those things into a front-facing LLM.
Yeah, I feel like the blockchain crypto world has a couple really good things, right? Of like when I create, say, a new token, a new something, like you post the source code for it. You post like exactly how this thing was actually made. So it allows someone to actually come by and do a security audit of it, or just in this case, audit where it's been tuned. It's tuned. The sentiment has been tuned, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I can tell you right now. I think if we're, I mean, you guys know that this country builds the car before they even start thinking about the seatbelt. And I can tell you right now, if we're really, want to move forward with, proper procedures and, guidelines and guidance, there should be a, Google actually kind of started this, but there should be a, like an AI policy government focused group, that is reviewing models, that is reviewing, these things. Okay, putting if it's going to be put on the blockchain, those public access, everything, be able to come in and, mark reference that, hey, this information is actually, incorrect. And it's interesting. I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, this information is, actually correct, or it's it's incorrect, or being able to also put in the community that, hey, guys, we told Grok, OpenAI, whatever, that this segment in their data isn't factual, and here's the report that we gave, like a BBB.
You know what? Actually, I want to make one edit to what you said. I think the one change I would say is that actually I feel like I'm a lot less inclined to saying a government agency, but more of like a nonprofit group or something like that, with the same type of like mission or something like that, but some teeth in it that means that if you're not certified by this, like a good one is like, what is it, the B Corp one, right? There's a B Corp label that you can get on.
I was thinking GNU too. Wasn't GNU like a
GNU? Yeah, GNU, yeah. Which is, I feel like those, I feel like the government part, because right now it feels like government just seems to shift depending on who's in office and how they feel in their sentiment. The thing that are consistent are seem to be some of these nonprofits, or not all of them, but certain ones, like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF, which they protect they're a digital rights group that's based in California that focuses on it. And they have a lot of, I feel like they have teeth in it, because like if you're, doing things that hurt copyrights and things like that, and they speak out against what you're doing, then there's directly some effect to business. But like, I think they need something like that. They need like some certification, something like that, that is connected to a nonprofit. It is not connected to the capitalistic part of our of how we do things. So
So, and the sad part to me is that it's going to take the disaster probably, or the bad thing to happen before a foundation like that or some kind of nonprofit is stood up. When some kind of widespread damage due to misinformation provided by large language model would that be like, okay, well now we're gonna stand this up since X, Y, and Z has happened.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like we might get there before the thing. I think there's enough lessons out here. Was it the GNU Foundation, or was it the one that does the GPL license? That just happened because folks were just concerned about people taking their software, or companies being, companies taking what they've done, selling it out, and not actually contributing back to what they've just taken from. And it was just a protective measure. I think we are at a good place for protective measures to appear, right? I just don't know who those people are. And I feel like some of these folks that have left OpenAI will probably end up trying to be some of these people, right?
That's a really good point. Because one of them in particular, I think it's one of our talking points today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll say this and then we'll move forward. I think the highlight, or the thing that goes wrong, misinformation, whatever it may be, is no longer dependent on if it's harmful, if it's true, if it's false, if it does damage. We live in a society now, and it's unfortunate I'm about to say this, that it heavily depends on who said it. Because if one individual, who may sit in a particular political seat, if they say it, it is nowhere near going to carry that much impact, or that much not damage, but that much, reparation or stuff, where it may be. It is dependent on who says it, who did the damage. And so the damage can be just as impactful, if not more. But if it's coming from a certain individual, who sits in a certain seat, then it will be either pushed up the rug, or ignored, or it just kind of moved along like nothing happened. And so I think that's also unfortunate.
Yeah. And how does that, you think that relates to what we're talking about as the owners of the models, maybe, of who's saying, it's depending on where you got the information. Like, say, if you went to, like, say, toxic Grok, you got this information from toxic Grok over here.
You don't need to have a toxic Grok. It's already Grok is already comes toxic already.
That's already
it's pretty big. Pretty big. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Sekou, your old boo. Oracle has introduced a new AI-powered agent, signaling a shift in enterprise and AI strategy. So these agents are designed to automate complex workflows and business operations, competing directly with a SaaS-based AI solutions. Oracle is betting that AI agents will redefine enterprise automation, moving beyond traditional cloud-based software. Sekou, I want to start with you this well, because you said something very, very interesting. I believe it was yesterday. You said that you believe that AI agents are basically replacing SaaS. Elaborate on that. Let's start with that.
Yeah, I think let me just maybe I can start with like kind of defining this for like the audience. Like, what is SaaS, right? I think like in the simplest terms, like if you imagine, let's imagine eating a pizza, right? You're gonna get a pizza from somewhere, right? Or sorry, you're gonna have a pizza at home. You have your dining table. You have like your drinks. You have a stove. You have this fire for that, and then you have the actual pizza itself with all the different toppings and stuff, right? When you look at SaaS, they meant like the vendor will manage the table. They manage the soda, the gas range, the fire, the pizza dough, maybe the tomato sauce, and they'll provide some toppings for you, but you can add more toppings on top of it. And they'll provide some cheese, but you can add some more cheese on top of it. But how you eat it is really up to you, right? That's SaaS, right?
Gotcha.
Now, in the agentic world, it's all the same thing, but the difference is when it comes to the toppings, they give you little toppings, and you can add some toppings on top of it. They give you some cheese, you can add some cheese on top of it. The difference is when it comes to consuming it, they give you context, and you can add your own context too. The feedback loop of like whether it was a good decision or not, they give you information for that, and you can also tell you your sentiment, how it felt, like how eating that pizza felt, right? I think so. This is I think the shift that's happening. It's now rather than the vendor part stopping right at just the toppings at the bottom layer of what a pizza actually is, and allowing you to just control all the decisions and make good and bad decisions. Now you have an AI agent that's providing its knowledge-based things that they know within the process now. So what's happening with this shift? Essentially, the AI agents they're replacing SaaS. Like it's going to the ability to have your own decision loop on your own and have to write your own configuration files to execute something connected to someone's SaaS. Like that's going to shift away, and you're just going to have this AI agent you're just going to ask questions to, or tell it what you want. And depending on how that thing is tuned is going to be how good it's actually going to work out for you. And that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure if this is if we're at a point where AI agents are going to be good enough to be in the loop on all your decisions at all the actual like trust layer and stuff yet. But that's what they're attempting, and it will if it does take, which I'm assuming everyone is betting that it will take, the SaaS model will become irrelevant. No one's going to want to have to do the hard work of, handling all that decision context on their own. They're going to want the vendor to manage part of that decision. So, it's interesting. And you'll see, I think this year is the year of the agent and the year of the slow death of SaaS. So.
I feel like it's the slow death of the, like, I gotta disagree, because I think that it's the slow death of the SaaS certification. So when I'm thinking of a SaaS product, I think of like something like AWS. So if AWS was to release their agents, like that allowed you to ask it to, hey, look, set up my subnets, the internal, external subnets, get everything set up for the infrastructure of my company with storage, the container management, everything like that. If we get to the point where AWS releases an agent that I can just ask something more broad than that, like something closer to the end product that I want, and it will automatically set those things up for me. That is, I think, going to be that's they could totally do, and I could see on the horizon for them. But what that's going to do is take away really the need for possibly the skills and getting that done yourself, like manually, like either through knowledge of Terraform, going in there through the UI, setting everything up manually, your regular AWS level certification skill set. What was that? What's the first one that you get? ACE, certified cloud practitioner.
Cloud practitioner,
yeah. So that level of the certification, I don't know is necessary in the agentic AWS world. So I think it's going to be maybe something similar for all the other SaaS platforms out there, where if you don't have something like an agent running, that will allow, people at maybe, not necessarily the engineer level, but above that, more of the planning, even at the planning phase, people at that level. Yeah.
Can I just add one couple thing? Remember Replit, our good friends Replit, the folks that probably need to sponsor us at some point.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah. I think I think if AWS would take a stance that's like Replit, that would be their version of this, right?
Yeah.
Where I am just prompting, it's making decisions with me, and it's, it could choose a database for me. Like, I don't like the fact that I'm using, a Dynamo versus, what you call it, Oracle or Amazon's SQL product. Like that, that's separated from me. The agent is going to decide that maybe I might have an opinion on it, but like it's
a cost threshold to stay within.
Yeah, we're cooperating on it.
Yeah. So I think that the SaaS is going to be around, but it's just going to be a more hand-holding. There's going to be a lot more hand-holding on the platforms, and that's going to be that's my thing, I think.
Yeah.
You make an interesting point. I wanna. This is not a part of the show, but I want to read something because this popped up, and I think it's very, very. Very, very powerful. Because I've been stating this for quite some time. One of the things I've noticed and I had a conversation around. One of the things I noticed how these models are performing, particularly now with the internet. Things are changing. Things are changing rapidly. The way, particularly around search, things are changing. Things are changing. And one of my biggest concerns, around that was how this is going to impact SMBs. And so I see how agents is going to be beneficial and everything to enterprise, because you have the OpenAIs, the NVIDIAs, you have the big players, or basically they're building for enterprise. They're not building necessarily for SMBs. Chris Dixon is he's a partner over at A16 of Z, and he wrote a book last year. What was it called? I can't remember the name of the book, but he wrote a book and everything. And basically, in the book, he was talking about some of the mistakes and stuff we made in Web 2, and while Web 3 should be fast forwarded, but also too, he's concerned that we're starting to make some of those same mistakes and stuff in Web 3, too as well.
Was it Read, Write, Own?
Yeah, Rewrite On. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good book. He states here, he says, what's going to happen to billions of websites if they aren't getting traffic? He says, it raises a point. He said, AI isn't just disrupting search, it is changing the internet's economic model. So for decades, websites provided platforms with content in exchange for traffic. And he said, now AI flips this. Its content fuel its model, but traffic doesn't always flow back. He said, as users turn to AI answers instead of the traditional search, control is becoming increasingly concentrated in the hands of few dominant systems. Chris says he's worried about the future of the internet and what the shift means for creators. I will take it a step further, because I've stated this before. I am worried about the future of SMBs, because you have a lot of companies, you have a lot of mom and pop shops that really rely on that Google traffic, or that Yelp traffic, of things like that. And we're already starting to see, these models shift. And these models we have no clue right now. There is no SEO yet, anything for, these AI generated search engines and stuff and everything. It is being developed and is being built, but also most importantly, your neighborhood dry cleaner have no clue of how do they get their site, their business to populate in a search, and stuff
That's
like that.
A good point.
Particularly if you have models like Microsoft that does not use Google in the results. They do not use Google and stuff in their results or anything and stuff. And so a lot of them, the early models was using Yelp. Everything. I can imagine a lot of SMBs, they may have a Google presence, but they don't have Yelp. So, oh shit, does that mean now that when I go search for those type of restaurants or maybe I'm not going to appear in a new turn of search because I don't have a Yelp page? Do I need a Yelp page? What if they decide to get rid of Yelp? What if somebody starts to acquire Yelp? Everything. What happens stuff then? It is changing rapidly. Everything. And so let me pause there, because
you stepped on something here. You stepped on something here, and my infrastructure brain just turned on just now when you were talking, and I can actually I feel like I can connect this to let's use Oracle as an example, right? So Oracle is going to move to this agentic model, right? Usually, like behind the scenes, when someone is creating a new service or some infrastructure, they're going to choose tools that they know about, they have experience in, that they have knowledge of, right? They may go with a MongoDB because that's what they use, and it's gets a lot of traction, right, for them. You know what? For the most part, when Oracle uses these services, in order to have like agentic flow, they're going to choose technologies that's actually going to be very narrow because it can fit into their integration with AIs, right? Before, if you were a consumer consuming the cloud, you would choose technologies based off of your needs. That's the decision. This decision context change from the SaaS model for the agentic model. Now they are actually going to enforce what technology you use. Now, if you're a MongoDB company, right? and everyone is moving to a agentic model, and you are not in the menu of technologies that's behind the scene there, right? That is, you're gonna get wiped out. You need to have integration, right?
Yeah.
Here, watch this. Yeah. Before you move forward, who is alerting the world of such thing?
Oh, of the
more specifically, who's alerting SMBs? Who's alerting the mom and pop shops? Who's alerting?
We are.
Yeah.
Friends.
I like that.
This is what you come here for.
But yeah, I mean, these types of changes, these types of things are happening every single day, and yet, we're not teaching, we're not alerting, we're not outputting this information. Google's not going to tell you to change your approach or anything, because I mean, a lot of their revenue is very much still based on SEO, and stuff and everything, and so they're not going to tell you to change your approach. They're not going to alert you of anything. They may give you an option to add a new service, a monthly subscription, so you can pull up, you can be advertised in or put into the LLM that the results may show. But now we're talking about more than one search engine.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so typically Google has done a great job over the past decade of becoming the dominant search engine. That is quickly changing on the AI search side. So who's alerting these SMBs? Who's telling these people that unfortunately, their lives could be changed or anything in a matter of months.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's what you come here for. We'll let you know. And I tell you what, for the folks out there, that if you're a vendor that is providing a SaaS product or something, some part of the integration chain for infrastructure that's happening right now, it is beyond important for you to go and make sure that you are part of that agentic story, that you don't get written out of that. Because right now, I think a lot of companies are like saying, oh, you know what? I need to integrate AI. I'm going to put AI on the front of my my service and have people, interact with just my service. No, you need to think about the integration. Same thing for the mom and pop shops. Like, you need to figure out how to integrate your advertisements into the AI pipeline. If you're not doing that, then as this progresses and this gets larger, you're going to get left behind. You won't be one of the choices that are going to be in front of folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's concerning, because you still have a lot of restaurants out here that are still taking cash only. You still got a lot of restaurants out here that they just put together their Facebook page 6 months ago. They just figured it out, with the help of their nephew, and so, unfortunately, and when you have a restaurant, you have a barbershop, when you have, these dreams, these skills that you have on, typically you're masters of that craft. And, things like social media, Facebook, all these things are typically outside of the craft of what you're masters in. Not saying that you shouldn't learn or you shouldn't stretch yourself for things like that. But it is very much concerning. Here's one too. I would tell you this: if I haven't seen it yet, I don't doubt somebody's working on it. I tell you this right now: with the origin of agents replacing SaaS, I can tell you right now, there should definitely be somebody working on agents that will take in a site and output it to be ready for all AI search engines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
AI search engine, AI SEO, basically. Yeah.
Guys, I'm available anytime you guys want to book me, and stuff. And so just subscribe and send me a DM. Yeah, somebody should definitely be working on it if they aren't already, because it's going to be needed. It's already needed, and it's going to be even more so unneeded, and so as they're coming along too as well. So, yep. All right, so we talked about Sekou's boo and stuff there. Baidu has announced plans to integrate DeepSeek, a powerful AI model, into its ecosystem. It says this move is expected to bolster Baidu's AI offering, particularly in the search of cloud services. As China's AI competitive intensifies with OpenAI and Google dominating globally, Baidu is positioning itself as a China leading AI player. Adrian, let's start with you on this one.
I thought Baidu was behind DeepSeek the whole time. I mean, I don't know if Baidu was one of the direct investors, but that was the first thing that I thought.
Is it like ByteDance with TikTok?
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's the biggest search engine over in China. That's what they use. That's their Google. So I think that partnership makes sense, and it was probably really, as they were developing DeepSeek, they really had that in mind on the horizon, as that integration was where it was going. So yeah, that's I think this is my first time seeing or hearing about the company that's actually going to be using DeepSeek in an official capacity. Have you guys heard of any others?
Using DeepSeek in like this capacity? Yeah. I haven't heard anyone else doing that. I know that Apple decided not to use DeepSeek for its Apple Intelligence integration. They ended up going with Alibaba's LLM setup instead, which was that was surprising. I thought why didn't you go for DeepSeek if this is actually specifically for the Chinese market?
Yeah, I got some political kind of reasoning there.
There's definitely some political connection to all that, but it's I think it's interesting. DeepSeek is impressive. It is very, very impressive. Not just for like the local LLM side of the house. Now, if it wasn't for all the concerns of privacy and things like that are kind of wrapped into using the service directly, I probably would engage and use it more. But yeah, they're definitely, the way that it does reasoning is, I think, actually, I feel like kind of better than OpenAI. When I say reasoning, the actual the display of, like, you can actually see the GPT like thinking out loud, essentially. Like the one that OpenAI has is good, but it's not as verbose, and it's almost like a debug log the way that DeepSeek does it. And I feel like I actually find like I get useful things out of seeing how it's actually like asking itself questions and like walking through things. But I can see probably, if you're,
yeah, and I would say that when it came to training DeepSeek, that kind of output was probably, they could probably feed that and reformat that. Like, there's a lot less formatting that went into feeding that back into training the new model. If there need to be adjustments or changes, it seems like that format would be more compatible with, like, just re-ingesting into a training.
Yeah, I do want to point out one thing on this particular article that pops me. The fact that Baidu has like their own AI models. You're big AI company, they have that. The fact that they're going to DeepSeek to do AI powered search is like, oh, we've given up.
Oh, is that right?
That's the other side. That's like the hidden subcontext, I think, that's inside of here.
So there's a team at Baidu, like, well, damn, all right.
Like, I thought I was doing that. Man.
Yeah, Marlon, what you got?
Remember, what was it? I think it was Thor 1. Dr. Selvig, and maybe it was 2. I don't remember. But Dr. Selvig, he had like this grin on his face, and they was like, "What are you smiling at?" He was like, "There's nothing more reassuring than knowing that confirming that the world is as crazy as you."
Mm.
What you've been positioned as and stuff like that. All right, so yeah, guys, I've been extremely good at predicting what's next, and been extremely bad at predicting when. I stated this probably like a year and a half ago that we're going to get to a place where these countries are going to start developing their own models, and basically what's going to happen is the U.S. will start to have to go through these countries' models to get access to their people, anything and stuff, right? So basically, just like what Apple is doing, with the Alibaba situation, here's the next step. You would also these companies also will have to go through these different countries' model to get access to their language, their news, their food recipes, everything. They're going to figure out a way how to own that data, and you're going to have to go through their models to get access to those things. You're going to see this. This is why Mistral came into play.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing this with Alibaba and everything. And here's two sides of this: is the countries that are not doing this, one of these countries, like the US, will do it for them and own that information, which also will be a starting ground to take over those areas.
Oh,
it'll be a starting play, everything. So I can guarantee right now, if Greenland or Canada is not working on their models right now, problem.
That is a problem.
That
is a problem.
Yeah,
they're just. It's actually it's a Silicon Valley story again, right? Yeah. Silicon Valley story again.
But no,
being made over here.
No, he's actually right. Exactly right. I'll take it a step further. Anything. I'm really scared to say this, but it is what it is. I'll take it a step further. Countries, all the way down to communities. If you're not owning and building your own models, it's going to be a problem.
Here. I second that.
Goes for I've stated it. I stated it at the conference I did with Westbrook at Morehouse. Is that I think HBCUs should start their own open source model, and all HBCUs should pour into it, and for everything from books to research to articles. And then the HBCUs should basically be the foundation and the starting ground to own Black history, because then now you have a model and a substance where history cannot be rewritten. If not, somebody will do it for us, which is also going to be a problem. It's not just for the Black community; it's for other countries, other communities as well. And if you're not doing this, and if you're not thinking about this, you're not talking about this, somebody would do it for you, which would be the starting ground for takeover.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, man. Hey, you just came out gems today.
I was watching Batman earlier, so I got this villain energy.
I see.
You think darkness is your ally?
I am hoping that the economy of scale that we can reach without NVIDIA GPUs can be shrunken. Like I think this is still a barrier, right? At the end of the day, you need a lot of GPUs to train a robust model. As that changes, and I feel like this year there's a large expectation that is going to change pretty drastically. Either it's the chips that are being made by cloud providers, whether it's Grok with with a Q. Or whether it's just how, there's major breakthroughs on alternatives to the transformer model that are happening. Like, this is going to be a breakout year. And with that, I feel like that launched it. But I think today, if you want to do that at scale, you're going to have to ask folks for money. And as soon as you ask folks for money, then there comes the strings, right? Yeah. And unless you are already in a good position like enterprises are, where they have GPUs or can get access to these things, like, they still have this advantage. Like, it is shrinking now. It is shrinking. But I think what folks need to do right now is to prepare for the future you're talking about, Marlon, is to make sure that they are experimenting, that they're trying to build models, even if it's on the small scale, even if it's on the what you call it, even if it's not on large scale GPUs, like, make sure that those skill sets are being created, because when the cost of this drops and the power consumption drops, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to like make the competing Grok product or the competing ChatGPT product that has your context in there. I feel like the developing nations, I feel like that's a place where I really, really am concerned about, because the literacy rate is still super high in parts of Africa. Right, just the literacy rate on alone, before we even get to the barrier of other things, right?
Let me jump in with that real quick.
Yeah,
the literacy rate a part of Africa also too as well. Here's another component of that. How many African languages are in nobody's LLM?
Oh, that's true. That's true. And I feel like there is like not a universal language, but there's languages. We call it. There's spoken language, right, that you speak. Then there's written language, and then there is, languages that can go into a keyboard.
Yeah.
Right. The languages that go on a keyboard, they have languages that are part of Unicode, but is any LLM trained on those dialects?
Because a lot of those languages don't have written form to them.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a change. There's been some really big changes on that side of the house, but there's like almost like a conversion that you can do to a lot of the dialects now that you couldn't do before. But getting them into like these advanced forms, like, I don't know who's doing that. I feel like that's a huge gap. And you know what? The thing is, in Africa, the age range of folks in Africa are so young. There's so many young people in Africa right now. If they're able to be, educated and mobilized in this direction, not all of them, but you know what I mean. But like, if we can get young folks connected to this like future that we're talking about, like, I feel like there's a lot of potential that's just sitting out there with some of these things. So I don't know.
Yeah. For sure. You know what? And one thing this reminds me of too is this article I read a while ago on the Chinese typing system and the way that they use keyboards over there. So in the 1950s, there was like kind of a crisis in China when it came to how they were on the verge of being like, I guess we'll just use English on computers because the keyboard did not allow for the typing of the Chinese characters properly. So they invented the system called Pinyin in the 1958, and that allowed, it was like the T9 prediction. I don't know if you remember that on your phones, but it was a system like that. Yeah, that would allow you to type the characters. And it basically saved the language. It saved the written Chinese language in a way. So what you're saying reminded me of that.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it was. It's called Uncode is the language that is encoded into Unicode. Just getting it into Unicode where it can actually be programmatically created. Has connected, like people can write books now that they couldn't write before because of this.
Wow. Let me dive in stuff here too as well. Here's something to look out for. Pay attention to typically sometimes it's easy to figure this out, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. Pay attention to companies who are hiring individuals to come talk in their language to their models.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Remember how OpenAI did this with Patois.
Yep.
They did it with the Jamaican dialect. So pay attention to those companies and stuff who are doing that, who are paying individuals and everything to do this. Also, to remember, we talked about this in season 1. That's also too how OpenAI is going to get out of this, or if they already get out of that New York Post lawsuit. The same strategy. They're going to hire people who are either used to work there or people who work like them to come in and pay them, on a contracting base to come write, talk, speak, sing, and everything. Also, too, don't believe what's his name? I can't think of his name. CEO of OpenAI. I'm going blank.
Sam Altman.
Yeah, don't believe Sam Altman one bit when he said they won't get into music. I'm calling bullshit right now.
Oh yeah.
If that's the case, you wouldn't introduce GPT-4 Omni with the ability to sing "Happy Birthday" in different ways.
Yeah,
that is a test. That is a test and everything, and then seeing system how to respond. Don't believe one bit and everything. They're just trying to figure out the legal ways of basically how to punch the music industry in the mouth with this, but without taking like the backlash of it. Because also too, as we know, the music industry doesn't innovate. They sue and then they partner.
Yep.
That's their strategy. Yep. They sue and they partner. They're going to sue. What was the first?
Suno.
No. The first music streaming platform.
Napster.
Napster. Yeah, they sue. Yeah. They sue them. They sue the industry for they get a fee from everybody, and then finally they partner. With Spotify, with Apple, things like that. They sue and they partner.
Sue then they partner. That's the order. Sue then they partner.
Yeah. And so I guarantee you, OpenAI is trying to figure out a way, basically, how to build it where they can't sue, and then OpenAI will be in control if they want to partner or not.
Wow. I hear you on that.
I'm available for keynote sessions. 60 minutes. Is Oprah's show still going on? Jennifer Hudson.
Submit your list of wanted guests.
There you go, Hall.
Oh man. Okay, cool. Let's do a speed round here, man. We're gonna get ready to close out here. Microsoft has unveiled was it Madrona? A quantum chip designed for tolerant quantum computing. The chip could revolutionize AI processing, allowing for exponential speed improvements over classical computing. Microsoft claims that this is a major step toward practical quantum computing, but the skeptics question is whether we're still decades away from the real-time world applications. Adrian, let's go back to you. Thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's cool. I've been reading up a little bit about the topological insulator thing, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like they're using matter that's in between states of liquid, solid, or gas. So it's like a new kind of state of matter that they're using for better conductivity or insulation in these chips. And throw more at the board. The topological, whatever that is, the topological layer enables more accuracy and less loss of data while on the processor itself. So that's pretty cool. I'd like to see us innovating still domestically. I think that's us, right? Microsoft, right? I still stay side. so yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay, Sekou.
I think it's great. I'm surprised that Microsoft is on the forefront of this, and they're showing off their cool chip that has the Microsoft logo on it there. It feels like quantum is coming faster than I've even expected, and I have no idea how this is going to impact, all the things we're talking about with AI, right? Like when do these two worlds collide? You're talking about solving these huge problems, talking about, the fact that it's can, quantum PCs can solve problems that would take, millions of years to solve. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it feels like science fiction right now. And even myself, I'm still grasping onto how, quantum computers will actually work in a practical sense for an end user, or would ever be an end user thing, would only be like the replacement for supercomputers. I think, it's still exorbitantly expensive. So even it's out of the reach of enterprises, most enterprises, unless maybe you're Microsoft, apparently. So I'm and I'm optimistic, at least for the future, but I'm watching this super closely. It's coming super fast.
We could have I know I had the pleasure of meeting an individual who has been working. She's been working on quantum computing for like the last 5 to 7 years. And so actually, we met her at our in-person event, our live event. And so that could be a guest, so if you want to dive deeper into that conversation, around the combination and everything of quantum computing and AI, that'd be an awesome conversation.
Yeah, I'd definitely welcome that. Oh,
yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, cool. Last up here. Mir Murati, the former CTO of OpenAI, has launched a new AI company called Thinking Machines. The company aims to challenge OpenAI by focusing on ethical, open, and decentralized AI development. Murati's reputation and experience put her in a strong position to compete, but can she really take on OpenAI? Thoughts and stuff here. Sekou, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. That's the expectation, right? You have remember the PayPal mafia, how they all, when they left PayPal, they all kind of like dispersed and started all their own companies and things like that. It's the same thing that's happening here. But the fact that she was the CTO over most of OpenAI's rise to fame puts her in a very solid position for being able to make a pretty big headway. But I guess, the challenging thing is you need both. You need the strong mind, and you also need someone who can handle the actual delivery of product. Those are not actually always the same person. So it's something I'm looking forward to seeing. But the word ethical AI was not inside of any of her posts. That was like a little troublesome for me. It's like, okay, all right, you're not that's not your angle. The other folks that have left OpenAI have actually put ethics within their actual statements of what they're building. So that's my only one cause of concern. Like, oh, okay, all right, you're gonna try to sell things. Great.
Yeah. I mean, I think that she's doing a good job with branding. What I think is what we're going to see is like a little bit of a boomerang, where Murati is going to shoot, out to her own company. She's going to develop and define a thing that is going to then be later reacquired again into OpenAI as a part of their central vision.
That's a great point, Adrian. That's a great point.
Yeah.
The timing is going to be it's going to be paramount.
Excellent point. Yeah.
I feel like that was a trick over at Oracle a long time ago. People would execs would leave Oracle, create a startup, and get reacquired back into Oracle. They're this. There was just this loop that happened. Then they leave again, and they do the same thing. Yeah.
Circle the block, you get that dough. You circle the block, you get that dough. You know,
that's an excellent point.
Yeah, I think that she's going to do a great job defining something maybe central to AI ethics. So while she's defining that, the acquisition is going to happen probably at a critical time, maybe around the time that AI is having, or OpenAI will be having like ethics concerns about what they're putting out. And this will be, we're going to incorporate her back in, you know what I mean? And, you know, she gets an island in Hawaii in return. Which is great. No hate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the same thing too with, I mean, this wasn't, you know, his strategy. Well, like he did it, you know, but it's kind of the same thing too with Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, yeah. That's a great example.
Yeah, Steve Jobs and Jane, you know, did something similar and stuff there. Okay, cool. Well, guys, you know, I really enjoy this, and I really, you know, love working with you guys. I think we get to do this. Fortunately, I think the unfortunate thing, we also got to be in person, and man, you know, that was awesome. You know,
that was awesome. That was awesome.
And so that video will be dropping soon too as well, so you guys to see that episode, everything. But until then, man, guys, definitely like, you know, comment, subscribe, and stuff, you know, here, you know, with you guys, definitely follow us and everything on all platforms, you know, so there you go there at the bottom. And then also too, join the Discord. And so, you know, so join the Discord. That'll be in the show notes and everything. I just kind of put it in there too as a comment. You know, join the Discord. We'll start hosting, you know, office hours. We start to do, you know, workshops too as well. We'll start to show how we build some things and stuff we've been talking about here for a couple of different episodes. And so we're gonna do a closeout here, man. We'll start with you, Adrian. And then closing words. So,
guys, pleasure as always. You guys can find me on all platforms at Adrian_Poupon or infamous Adrian. If the change hasn't done yet, I'm in the process of changing all my profiles there. But Adrian_Poupon on all platforms. Yeah, again, any independent musicians out there who wants to get maybe has a YouTube channel, maybe has a little bit of following, you know, hit me up at a Distro Nation, and we can get you right.
Cool. Sekou.
Hey, you can find me on all platforms. Sekou the Wise. Yeah, you know, for all the different SMBs, the different companies trying to understand what to do in this AI world, whether you're someone who's a learner, you know, we're here to simplify the story, bring it to you, bring you into it, and to guide you.
Cool. And once again, guys, Marlon Avery, you guys, if you have a SMB and you're looking for AI voice solutions, definitely feel free to reach out to me. And then also too, if you're an organization, government, enterprise, and you're looking for some education, coaching workshops, you know, to help your employees understand everything from prompting to how to build your own GPTs to agents, I'm your guy. I want to watch Jim Carrey. Anyway, and so guys, until next time, you know, subscribe and everything, join the Discord. We are out.
All right, peace.
All right, see you guys.